Many moons ago in college, I took a course called Technical Writing. I had no idea why in the world I'd be taking it. Now I understand it. So I'm going to go through this estimate and just talk about a couple things on here that's so important when writing an estimate and being clear. So this originally said limb up trees on the side of the church. It didn't say which side of the church. On one side there's 2 Althea trees, and the other side there's a bunch of oak trees. What we're limbing up with the 2 Althea. We need to say what trees, how many there are, and about how high. Otherwise, it's left open-ended for the customer. They might think that we're going to limb up 20 oak trees 20 feet, and that's where this will really get us into trouble. In here, we're removing a bunch of bushes. Well, what do we do with it? What do we like? Do we leave it on site? Do we carry it off? If we carry it off, does it cost anything? Next part of the estimate. So this is just a couple of plants for this space. Essentially, we would leave the customer with this. It's like going to a restaurant and they give you 3 crumbs. You want to leave the restaurant full. So that's why I'm saying add in here. Also, this is how we make our money. If a restaurant cooked up a meal and there's a hamburger patty that was 1 inch wide, they're going to do a lot of work for a little bit of money because you can't charge a whole lot for a 1 inch wide hamburger. Same thing here. Make sure we deal with how do we deal with that garbage. Now this one right here, this was mulch. This is for a very small area. For anybody watching, this is an area that's maybe 200 or 300 square feet. And I'm thinking what they're thinking is this is like shovelfuls. But the truth is, it's skid steerfuls. And if you're gonna do an area, you see that car right there? It's maybe 1.5 times bigger than that car. So this is where you have to have a feel for pricing. $2,000 worth of mulch for an area 1.5 times bigger than that car is a whole lot of money. This is actually skid steer scoops right there, which that may be legitimate depending on how much labor we put into it. But right now, this is an insane number, and it's not representative of the work that's going into here. Let me see. Other things that I like to do, I heard a story about a lady who got 10,000 square feet of zoysia grass and didn't know that you have to water new grass. So it's really important to train the customer in how important it is to water these. It has it in our contract, but you know how it is. It's a big, long, lengthy thing. Who in the world reads contracts? So that's why I have it in here to say it's so important that you water your plants. The person who did this estimate, they actually did address the rental on this, or the disposal, and they did a mighty fine job of it. Also, what we do is we see other options, and sometimes it's important not to have that in the bottom line. In other words, I call it the psychology of the estimate. When a person opens up an estimate and it's a bunch of dollars, they go, and they already are forming an opinion about whether they want to do the job. But if you have the estimate at just the basics, and then you have these other options here, it's not as scary to take. A lot of times people will go, X dollars is my budget. We get out there, they get to working, they see what we're doing, they like what they see, and then they're like, well, let's add this, let's add that. This sort of gives a game plan for it. So it's a little bit about estimate creation, but technical writing being very clear is so important when we do that. Thanks, Corey, Creative Habitats.